in the beginning, just get out there, and there's nothing wrong with emailing a band to ask if you can work for them. We have another video for you here, and this I just wanted to chat about. It's just something that came up on a call we were doing with some students from a university in the UK, and we were asked the question of, is there any mileage into going out and trying to work with a band or client versus going out and trying to gain more experience working in a warehouse or something like that. So what I find is, my path in this whole journey started out working for a corporate events company, and I got that in what we have in the UK is called an apprenticeship scheme, where we have we get a job, we're on a reduced wage, so we spend half the time on the job, half the time at college, so we learning on the job. And I was learning a lot of experience through the business of what I worked for, and going to college at the same time. But when I came out of that, I was kind of a freelance technician, and I would work for different companies. But when it came to actually, the first couple of the bands that I worked with, I actually got through some of the companies I was working with at the time as a technician, because they got approached and I was in the right place at the right time, so to speak. But after that, it was a kind of left to my own devices to find the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So I had to jump in and do it. So this kind of answer comes in two parts. You can't really answer this question in either way or the other, because either way is going to teach you different things. So when you hear a question goes in a Facebook group and someone says how do I become a light designer or whatever, or when they're coming out of university and they don't know where to go, and you get people just saying go and work for a rental company, that'll teach you everything. Well, look, it doesn't, right? So what the rental company will teach you, or go and get an experience on events, this is absolutely valuable, and you should always try and get as much experience as possible, because it's going working with rental companies and production houses and things like that is going to teach you how the industry works. It's going to teach you different skills than how to light a band. So skills like how truck packs go together, skills like how to fix a light even, and how to speak to clients, and how things work from a rental company's perspective, and how to deal with people. It's how to work with crews that you don't know, and it's going to teach you a whole manner of different skills what you're going to need to do this job down the road. Now, to the question about just going out and starting out and getting bands, absolutely. You're building a business here, so, and your portfolio is going to get asked for, or it's going to get looked upon time and time again. So you need to get out there and start building your portfolio from day one. So if that means starting from the bottom and get out there and work with any band or any client, that'll have you. So there's thousands of bands out there who would love to have someone who actually gives a shit about their music and to program lights to their music, but can't necessarily afford to pay a top lighting designer or someone who's commanding hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars a day, or thousands of dollars a day, whatever. So bands starting out in their career would love to have an LD or someone to design their show. So why not call these bands up, the ones that can't necessarily afford one at the time, do a trade-off, say, I would love to work for you, and I'll do it for some beers, or I don't know, a massively reduced rate or whatever. But it's going to get you vital experience, because it's going to teach you how to work in small venues, which is absolutely vital. because it does teach you a lot. If you can work in small venues, then you can work in any large venue. It's going to teach you a lot about how to design shows, how to utilize in-house lights, because that is what you're going to end up doing on the smaller shows a lot. It's going to teach you so much getting in with these bands, but also the added benefit is it's going to be, sorry, my camera's just slipped, it's massively beneficial to your portfolio, because then if you've worked for these guys, you know, you can put your name, or their name rather, on your portfolio. So start getting pictures, because, you know, and bring in a photographer, do a trade-off with a photographer, like, you know, I don't know, buy him some beers for coming and taking, or her, and for coming to take pictures for the band you're working with, or whatever. You know, like, really, in the beginning, just get out there, you know, and there's nothing wrong with emailing a band to ask if you can work for them. So what's the worst they can say? No? So what? So enough shit against the wall, something's gonna stick, isn't it, really? So, and there's thousands and thousands of bands out there who are just dying, you know, they're building their career, and they'll happily, you know, take you on board if the offer's right from your perspective. And, you know, also this is gonna be building every one of those bands, you know, if they've been signed and things like that, are gonna have a tour manager, they're gonna have crew, they're gonna have management. You know, a lot of these management companies have multiple other bands, a lot of these tour managers work with multiple other bands, a lot of these sound engineers work with multiple other bands. So instantly you're starting to build your network as well. And your network, I hate this phrase, but your network is your net worth. So, you know, that's a shit phrase from the business world, but, you know, it's kind of true, because in this job especially, the role of a lighting designer, your network is everything, because they're going to that's going to pay you for forevermore. And so getting in early, getting in with these earlier bands, you know, is a way that you can build your reputation, you can build your network, you can start building your portfolio. So yeah, by all means, get out there, start emailing people, pick up the phone, just, you know, do anything you can to get those bands on your CV, you know. And, you know, it's very easy to do. It's easy to Google bands. It's, you know, venues in your area, look at the venues, look at the bands who are coming through. Have they released singles recently? Because if they have, chances are they're going to be on the upward kind of trajectory, as in the record labels are kind of putting money into the band to get them to the next level and things like that. So, you know, once a band is kind of out there and you start hearing singles and things like that on the radio, that means they've obviously got a record deal, they're getting put out there, and the record label is promoting them. So but it doesn't necessarily mean they've got all the money in the world, because, you know, it's very hard being a musician these days. But equally, they want to build their show, and they want people to come back. So they want, you know, they will actually be receptive to you contacting them. So definitely look at venues, look at festival bills. You know, there's millions of festivals these days, and, you know, I'll give you a little trick.